So there's this new style of beat that's been taking over hip hop this year. It's called Sexy Drill, and it's been pioneered by artists like Cobain and Jordan Adetunji. These beats, they have more of an R&B kind of sounding melody, and they mix it with a drill bounce, but the drums are a lot more playful, more softer. Perfect for love songs. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make these beats from scratch. Let's get into it. For these kind of beats, they're usually a little bit faster than 140 BPM, roughly like 150 to 160. So we go for like 160 BPM. And I'm going to try and look for like some soft keys or a lush pad to start the melody. I've got this really cool belly kind of piano sound that I think would be perfect. And I'm also using this MIDI keyboard by Novation. They kindly sent me this, and it's a game changer for cooking up. I've connected it straight to my Logic Pro X, and I can control plugins and effects straight from my MIDI keyboard. My favorite thing about this is using the creative features to cook up. So I'm going to hit scale. And now the keys, no matter what I play, are locked into the scale. And then also what we can do is click chord map, and now it's giving us chords. And if we change these parameters here, Adventure 1, Adventure 2, the more we change it, the crazier the chords get. And they've also got Explore, which is some more different chords in there. We can change this, which makes it normal, wide, which means more notes on a chord, or widest. I kind of like the wide one, and let's see what chords we can find. Really want to go for something that sounds vibey. With these orange buttons as well, what we can do, arpeggiates it, or we can even invert the chords, but I think I like those chords. Let's go ahead and record that in. So even though we've literally just pressed squares, the full chord actually comes up in Logic Pro X. It's like a cheat code. I think I just want to change a couple notes at the end here. Let's take out some of that low end. And I always like to just take out high end, even if it's not showing frequencies. And I'm also going to add in some reverb because I really want it to sound watery. Then let's just turn it down a little bit. That's a good starting point. Let's add to it. I found this really nice lead. It's almost like a pad, and I'm just going to layer that underneath the chords. Sometimes with these beats too, they'll have the root note just playing the whole way through. I've got this string sound pulled up in Arturia. I'm using D minor as my scale, so the root note would be D. But instead of using D for the whole thing, I like to actually use the third note or the fifth note. I feel like it just gives it a bit more tension. So if we use the third, sounds cool, or the fifth, which is even more intense. So I'm going to record that in. And that will just go in the background. But the reverb and the decay pretty much turned all the way up, so it sounds almost like a drone. Once we put the drums on top of this, this is going to sound super vibey. But before we do that, I feel like this would sound really nice with some watery vocal chops in the back. That sounds cool, but I like to customize it a bit more. So let's just bounce that into an audio file. And then I don't think I need any of that section, so let's just cut it. And then the same thing here, we'll just cut that. One thing that I like to do in Logic Pro X is always save my preset chains. So I can quickly just go into settings, go into melodies, and I've got this weird vocal edit here. Let's drop the filter down even more, so it's just really in the background. That sounds really cool. That's it for the melodies. I made that really fast using the MIDI keyboard. Super clutch, and I didn't even scratch the surface. You could do even more cool things, like if we hold down fixed chord and we play any chord, So that's a ninth chord. Every key now that we play plays ninth chord. But what's even better, if we actually assign it to a scale, it will play ninth chords within that scale. So we could do like a 1, 5, 4. And if we hold shift and choose use a chord, now we can hold down a button, play a chord. That chord is saved to that pad. And we can play in our melodies like that too. So we want to go for a drill bounce, but with a little bit more space than usual. And also just switching up the sound selection, mainly using snaps, stomps, just to give it more of a bouncy kind of feeling. And for this, I'm going to be using sounds from my Drill Essentials 2 kit. And then I just want to layer that with another counter snare. So let's just drag this down, and I'm going to have it so it hits on the last part. And then the same thing on this side. And then we can also just pan this slightly to the right. What is a sexy drill beat without the snaps? And I'm just going to add a tiny touch of reverb on that. At this point, it's just all about adding to the bounce with percussion. But you don't want to overdo it. Just enough so it swings nicely, but still very, very spacious. Honestly, these beats are quite simple, but the reason why they hit so hard and they sound so good is because it's all about the mood that it creates. It's just a vibe. Just quantize that, have that in the beginning, and then we can just repeat that over, turn that down a little bit more. Before we add that stomp sound, which is super iconic in these beats, I want to add in a bass line, and instead of using an 808, I'm actually going to use a sub bass, just so it fills out the low end a bit more. My go-to one is this preset in Analog Lab. We could just make this easier, honestly, by just dragging down the chords that we used, taking away all the top notes, and so we just got to put this up an octave. And then just mess around with the low pass until you like the feeling that you get. In one section of the beat, I'm going to have a kick, and then the other section of the beat, I'm going to switch it to stomps. And then let's switch it up, duplicate that down, drag that down. And then now, instead of using this drill kick, I'm just gonna drag in this stomp sound. I've structured out my beat so we've got a bit of arrangement and some drops. I've added in this fill. So let's give this a play. Nice, smooth intro. So much space for an artist to do their thing, but it's just all about the vibe and the bounce. And then in this part we switch into the stomps. Yeah, this one is so chill. That's how you make a sexy drill beat. Really chill R&B melodies, bouncy drums. If you want to check out the Novation launch key, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. And if you want to learn how to make traditional UK drill beats, then check out this video right here.